I mean, animated could be fun.
I swear to God, I brought that up to Al at the creator of Smallville. I said we should do an animated Smallville.
I mean, because they're doing comic books. I've just been seeing him this weekend. I guess the series continues. I don't know.
Could you imagine? I mean, that would be huge. Smallville, the animated series, with all our real voices. And all the guest stars that played certain guest stars, bring them in, and it'd just be cool.
And are you going to introduce Batman in it?
Yeah, I don't have to shave my head. We gotta do that. That would be so easy and fun. Can you imagine how some Mike's doing the same dialogue and laughing and just having fun? We're doing it. We're doing it.
Now, Michael, you've worked with one of my idols, Andrea Romano, doing The Flash.
Yeah.
So
you don't know who that is. He's like,
epic voice director and casting. Yeah, retired now. Sadly.
I've heard of The Flash.
You should. Yeah,
You do the voice for that?
I do the voice for The Flash for years.
Oh, congratulations.
Please tell us about it. Yeah.
Hey everybody, it's Charlie. So we got to talk about Flash Smallville crossover. Now that they're joking about actually doing an animated series, it sounds like it might become a thing in the future. There's always potential because that DC streaming service is starved for content. They're developing so many new shows for that. So I'll try to explain, what the easiest way to accomplish this is and what the actual potential for it is, because it sounds like Michael Rosenbaum is a little more hungry for stuff like this to happen than Tom Welling, who is actually sort of dipping his toe back in the fandom waters. So if you are finding me for the first time, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. So just to address this footage first, this is them at AwesomeCon doing a Smallville panel. I'm just really happy that Tom Welling is doing conventions in general. Most of the actors do a lot of conventions, but Tom Welling was one of the holdouts because he said during the Smallville era, when that was on the air, the network wasn't really hot on the actors doing the convention circuit, but now they're totally cool with it, so we'll probably see more Tom Welling doing Superman panels as he goes around and does whatever other projects after he's done with Lucifer. But if you didn't see it a little while ago, I did a Flash Smallville what if crossover video, like, how would they accomplish this? There's just some very easy ways that you could use the powers that people have like Cisco and Barry to meet people from other Earths. For the most part in the comics, the Flash is the path to the multiverse because he can phase through different dimensions. But one of the biggest holdups is getting the actors to agree to it, like do they actually want to come back into this universe and play a version of their character or a different character? And two, getting different production studios to agree to it. Because even though Smallville was a CW show, I mean, it started WB era, like it was a bunch of regime changes while Smallville was happening because it was early CW era, is that the people that make the Arrowverse shows, the Berlantiverse, don't own Smallville. They didn't do that show. So it's a completely different group of producers that are involved that you have to get on board for something like that. Like if you're going to do more Smallville characters, usually you have to get their okay, even though you also have to get the okay of the network. So full-blown Smallville crossover just has to jump over a couple hurdles, but it's a lot easier to do in the animated universe. And what have they just done the last couple of years in the Arrowverse? They've done those short animated projects. They just did Vixen Season 2. They just dropped a brand new Constantine series a couple weeks ago. It would actually be pretty easy for them to do an Arrowverse crossover with the Smallville characters in the animated universe. And if they actually wanted to do a full-blown animated revival series, they could do that on the streaming service. That really would require the other producers. The Berlantiverse people probably couldn't take part in that. There are already a couple different streaming shows that are going to be on that DC service. You have Titans. They're going to have a show from the Gotham people called Metropolis. You can imagine the direction they're going to take with that. It's going to focus mostly on Lex Luthor and Lois Lane. A whole bunch of other animated projects from Warner Brothers Animation like Young Justice Season 3, The Harley Quinn Show. Most of all those different shows are from different people. It's not like one person, Greg Berlanti, doing all the Arrowverse shows on the CW. It gets way more complicated when you have all those cooks in the kitchen. But not impossible. If they can do a crossover with Scooby-Doo and Supernatural, they can for sure do the same thing with the Arrowverse and the Smallville characters. I think it's just a question of timing, availability, and getting the network to approve something like that. Because somebody's got to pay for it, they have to determine whether or not they're going to make a return on it. I think fans would be down for anything. Them revisiting these characters would be a lot of fun, even if it's only something that's really brief. But here's a couple more funny clips of them just talking about crazy stuff that happened on the show.
Yeah, we had little things, and as the series progressed, we'd have non-verbal gestures. Like if our take was just shit, we trusted each other. I'd go, Clark, how many times have I told you you can trust me? And he would look at me and go, or he'd give me a wink. Like, that means you suck. Do it again.
Hi, you guys.
Hi.
I wanted to talk a little bit about the finale, and Michael, thank you for coming back for that. I think that was something we were all waiting for.
That was cool. Yeah.
No, sorry, real quick. That was a big thing because he didn't have to. That was very much Michael doing that. It was really strange though, because when he showed up to set, he hadn't been there a few years, and we're like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "It's the finale." We're like,
The finale. You made me laugh. It's a finale.
It's a finale. It's a series finale. Where's my lines?
I feel weird. Am I doing this right? But we did it. You helped me get back into it.
Jump right back in.
I remember the first take. You remember the giant crane in the Luther mansion, and it's just all
destroyed.
It's all destroyed, and it comes down on me to open it, and I go, "Fuck! What's the line?" And I go, "Rosenbaum's back."
I think one of the worst things we did was, well, not that we did on the show, but watching you be Zod flying through the air. That was probably one of the worst things.
Why do you have to bring up all these things? This is like therapy for me. I'm bringing it up.
Bro, they brought him on these wires one day outside, and he comes from like...
What was I wearing?
He's wearing a long trench coat, and
They made it for me. It's like, I think I still have it.
he's trying to be all serious, and he's very unbalanced. He had to stay very sort of on these wires for like 40 feet, and all of a sudden he gets about 10 feet off the air, and his body just starts to turn like this, and we're all the wrong way. And he goes, "What am I doing? Why am I turning?"
Imagine me floating, and I'm like trying to be serious as I'm coming to Tom. What's going on? What's going on here? This isn't cool.
Yeah.
I never felt cool, ever.
Well, it's strange when you're playing these characters where then they show these alter egos of these characters.
And what was my first line when I landed? How did we know? We laughed every take. We almost didn't get the scene. Finally. Kneel to Zod. You remember that? Yeah.
I remember just going, "No, I can't watch this." Like,
I could see him. That's what made me laugh. I could see him going. On my close-up, I'm like going, "Powerful Zod," and you're like. He's like, "You look like such an idiot." I'm like, "Fuck."
I love hearing them talk about how ridiculous they got behind the scenes. I hope we get to the point where Stephen Amell and the Arrowverse actors can do stuff like that too. Speaking of which, they actually teased the big cliffhanger that's going to happen at the end of Arrow this season. Sarah is coming back for the finale, so there'll obviously be some Birds of Prey, Earth 2 Laurel stuff happening. They'll try and wrap up that arc. But the craziest thing they could do in my mind to refresh the show and go out like on a really big note would be to have Oliver actually leave Star City at some point during the season. Because for the most part, as a mayor of a city, you don't have an indefinite term. Like, there is a ticking clock. Eventually, you're not going to be mayor. So like Smallville, you spend a bunch of seasons on that show, but most of the time, the last couple of seasons, you're traveling around. Like Smallville eventually transitioned to Metropolis the last couple of seasons. They could always do the same thing with Arrow, where they go to a different city. But what'll happen is I'll post my Arrow episode video tomorrow. The Flash is back next week, so there'll be some more Flash posting in the next couple of days. Leave all your DC video requests in the comments below. Click here for my Flash Season 5 video, and click here for brand new Titans Season 1. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.